Hello YouTube, my name is Nero and today we have some Call of Duty Advanced Warfare playing a bit of domination here on the map. Comeback running out the MP11, specifically the MP11 Goliath, my favorite variant of the MP11. I'm so happy I have this thing, man. Just thinking back to when I opened that supply drop and actually got the MP11 Goliath out of it, I was so ecstatic that day because I was using the MP11 always, right? It's my favorite gun in the game, but I didn't have the best variant for it. So it's like, ah, man, I wish I had something to look forward to, of course. That was a cool part about it, I suppose. But overall, just like, I really wish I had the MP11 Goliath because it's my favorite gun and I want to have the best variant. I would just start melting people even faster because this gun's so much fun to use. You guys, if you're not a fan of the MP11, you need to try it out. It is so freaking fun to use in my own personal opinion. Today, what we're going to be doing is actually talking about Black Ops 3, right? Black Ops 3 and my wish list for that game. What do I want to see from Black Ops 3? Now, these opinions are not set in stone, right? These opinions can change, but for the most part, I feel so these are some pretty solid opinions. I think I have some pretty interesting points I want to bring up in this video that you guys may have not thought about for potentially things that could happen in Call of Duty Black Ops 3. And to cover on the gameplay to kind of finish that off, this is actually from an open lobby I did roughly a week ago. This was the open lobby I did when it was double XP on tax day, so that would have been on April 15th is when this was recorded. This was actually the final game of the evening. A couple people ended up backing out. I'm like, you know what, I'm tired anyway. Let's make this the final game. It's Comeback Domination. Of course, we're going to play that. And I noticed while watching back at this gameplay that my aim was pretty bad. Does anyone else have that problem? Like, if you play for a while, like let's say you're playing for like 2 hours or so, like at the end of that 2 hours, do you like start playing way worse as compared to like when you first got on? Like when I first get on, for whatever reason, my aim is amazing. Some people have like different, like the opposite of that. When they first get on, their aim is terrible and they have to kind of like warm up. I'm the opposite. Like I do really good when I first get on, then the longer I'm playing, I get worse. It's weird. But regardless, let's start talking about Call of Duty Black Ops 3. First and foremost, my wish list for Black Ops 3. What do I want this setting to be? So we've already learned, right? This is already confirmed. It's in the source code of the Call of Duty website. Black Ops 3 is going to, at least in some parts, be set in the future, right? You can't say Black Ops 3 I want it to be a World War II game because it's not. Like, let's face facts, it's going to at least feature part of it in the future, and that's going to be the thing of it. In my perfect world, a perfect scenario for me, I would like to see Black Ops 3 have a timeline kind of time span. What I mean by that is I would like the game to feature elements of World War II. I'd like for it to go to Vietnam. I would like to have it go to the future. And we've seen that a lot in the Black Ops series where they go back to the past for one reason or another and they just do missions in there to kind of give you some context as to what's happening in the story. There's a lot of time jumping in the Black Ops series and I would like to see that continue. And what I want them to really do with that is really just kind of break the multiplayer a little bit compared to what they usually do with it. So you think of the Call of Duty multiplayer, right? How Call of Duty multiplayer is always set up is the maps are actually inspired from the campaign. If you guys never knew that about Call of Duty, that's a thing. You know, the maps are areas from the campaign. And the only time they really kind of deviate a little bit away from that is when they do DLC, but most of the time even DLC maps are also features from the campaign. And then you're kind of basically living out battles from the campaign in the multiplayer, right? You look at the two factions, and here in Advanced Warfare, they kind of went away with it a little bit because in Advanced Warfare, a lot of time it's like Atlas versus the Sentinel. Or look, I'll be honest, I haven't played the Advanced Warfare campaign yet, so I don't even know who's fighting who or what's going on with any of that. But you have Atlas versus like the Sentinels, right? And then they're fighting here on Comeback for whatever reason. I haven't played the campaign, so of course it's gonna be something that's gonna be in the campaign. But you look back at like Modern Warfare 3, or you look back at Call of Duty Ghost, or you look back at Black Ops 2. All of the multiplayer maps themselves are actually things from the campaign, and then the two sides that the players can play on are the two people that were basically fighting in that part of the campaign. I want them to break that a little bit. If they're going to go ahead and make it so it's going to be World War II, Vietnam, and futuristic all in one game, I would like for them to just throw all elements of those time periods into the same thing, right? Because if they were to do that, right, if they were to have those blast from the past moments, they're for the most part would make the multiplayer just basically futuristic and then just not really talk about the past parts, similar to what happened in Call of Duty Black Ops, where there was an entire mission where we had to go back to World War II and we got to learn what happened to Dmitry Petrenko, right, who was the character we played through the campaign in World War. We got to find out what happened to him via that mission, but but in the multiplayer, there was nothing from that. There was no aspects of World War II thrown into the multiplayer at all, because it doesn't make sense, right? Unless they were to make one of the maps World War II, it wouldn't make sense, and of course, there's no World War II guns. I want them to break that entire concept, and I want them to have it so in the game where I have guns from World War II, right? So we can have Tommy guns, we can have M1 Grands, we can have Mosin Nagants and Springfield 1903s, we can have all these classic World War II guns, right? And also in the same multiplayer, I'd like to have Vietnam style guns. So you can have your Vietnam era M16s, and you can have your AK-47s and cool stuff like that, right? And then I also want some futuristic stuff as well, because why not? Let's get our M8A1s, our XM8s, let's get our PW57s in there. Let's get our futuristic Black Ops 2 style guns in there as well, and just throw all of these things together. Let's have some of our multiplayer maps actually be from World War II, right? Some of the World War II moments from the campaign or something like that. Let's have some of the multiplayer maps be set in the Vietnam. Let's have some of the multiplayer maps be set in the future, and have it just not matter, right? Just have it not matter, trying to make it make sense or have any context to it, right? Make it so, I don't care, we're running around with, if I choose to, I can run around with a World War II gun on a future map, where that wouldn't make sense in the campaign, obviously, because why would there be a World War II gun in a future setting? But who cares, right? Who cares? Just break that entire thing. I don't think people play the Call of Duty multiplayer to pretend they're actually reenacting battles from the campaign. I think they're there because they like to run around, shoot people, they like to level up, and they like to progress and stuff like that, right? So just kind of break that fourth wall in a way and make it so I can run around with a futuristic weapon on a World War II map, things like that. Just feature maps, guns, kill streaks, all that stuff from World War II, Vietnam, as well as the future in the game. I think that would be a really, really cool feature if they were to do that. Number two, I don't want exosuits. I feel as though there's some people out there that may want that, but I think for the most part, we would much rather not have exosuits in this game. If there's going to be exosuits, I would like it to be a Sledgehammer exclusive thing. I'd like it to be a thing that only happens for Sledgehammer games, so it's kind of a thing that doesn't get overdone. It's not a thing we don't really get tired of. For me personally, I mentioned my gripes with exosuits a lot. While they're fun, they really kind of break Call of Duty in some respects, because like, let's say, for example, I've said many times, you walk into a building, there's two people there, right? One of them jumps in the air, well, you're screwed. You cannot pick up that double kill because that person's 20 feet in the air. There's just no way for you to get both of them unless they have the worst aim in the world, right? That's how that goes down. And because of that, I wasn't really a big fan. It also kind of breaks the flow of the maps in some respects. I just wasn't a fan of exosuits overall compared to just having normal Call of Duty. If I had to pick between exosuits and normal Call of Duty, I would like normal Call of Duty. But once again, I don't mind it if it's like a Sledgehammer exclusive thing where 1 out of every 3 years we get it. I think that's fine. It's a nice change of pace. I would also like them to bring back what they did in Advanced Warfare. I like the idea of weapons and weapon variants. I like that idea a whole lot. Some people are against it. I understand that. But I think for the most part that having weapon variants and having a looting system really gives people a reason to want to play the game a lot more, rather than just your traditional, I need to level up because I feel like leveling up and I need to hit prestiges because, well, there's really no reason, I just want to hit prestiges. Adding in these supply drops gives you a reason to want to continue playing. I think it's every 45 minutes of in-game time that you play, you get a supply drop. And of course, advanced supply drops are out now that you can either purchase or get just by gradually leveling up. And it's kind of cool that you have these supply drops. There's a bunch of different weapon variants, adds a ton of variety to the game, and adds a looting system to the game. And if we've learned anything from a bunch of other games out there, that looting systems is a freaking cool system that a lot of people like to play with, right? Looting systems gives you a reason to play. It adds a gambling factor to it almost. It takes you back to when you were a kid, when you're opening up Pokemon cards or whatever it is you did growing up, right? It's just fun. For me anyway, I like the looting system, and I would like to see it return in future Call of Duty games. I definitely think that would be a pretty cool thing. I would like weapon variants to return, right? But that's a big thing, right? Like I just said, I would like those to return. But at the same time, there's going to have to be a change with that, because certain weapon variants, right? One of the things people don't like about weapon variants is they can kind of break the game in some respects, right? And certain weapon variants can be ridiculously powerful, and they need to be addressed, right? You think of the ASM1 Speakeasy, right? That's a gun that really needs to be addressed. ASM1 in general, but the Speakeasy itself is ridiculously good. So this is something I'd like them to do, which they haven't done this ever in Call of Duty, but it's something I feel as though they should do. Call of Duty's made enough money. It's something that they can do, and it's really going to help out the game. It's really going to help out the community. I would like weekly, not every month or so, but weekly weapon rebalancing and weekly updates with the Call of Duty Black Ops 3. If they're going to have weapon variants in there, by the very nature of the game, certain guns are going to be more powerful than the rest, right? That's something we cannot avoid in Call of Duty. It's going to happen. Every single Call of Duty game that's come out has had a gun that is better than the rest. Now, if they were to do these weekly updates, constantly addressing weapon balance, constantly changing things, that's good. You know, sometimes they buff up a gun and that gun just becomes too powerful, right? For example, the ASM1 was pretty weak sauce, right? The ASM1 was ridiculously weak when the game first came out. They buffed buffed it. Now it is way too powerful, and they haven't really addressed that. They addressed it a little bit by changing the fire rate when the gun first starts shooting, but for the most part, they haven't really addressed it. And it actually needs another nerf, in my own personal opinion, and they haven't addressed that, and it's been several months. Whereas if they were to do this thing on a weekly basis, we wouldn't have to wait this long for weapons to be addressed, right? I think that would be a cool thing. If you're watching the kill feed of this game, how much of the kill feed of this entire game was just people shooting their ASM-1s at each other? That's what it is. There's an ASM-1 on the ground right now that it wants me to pick up. I'm like, but no, I don't want to pick it up. I want to keep using my MP11. The gun is ridiculous in this game. And if there were weekly updates, there's no way that it would not actually be changed by this point. That's something I think that they could end up doing. A couple other small things I would like to throw in here towards the end of the video. I wish there would be a 9-on-9 dedicated domination playlist. That's something that's just out there for me. I like to play Ground War for the most part because I like inviting in a bunch of subscribers. I like the fast-paced action of Ground War, but I always get really annoyed, and I'm sure you guys can relate to this. Occasionally you go on these streaks where it's like, I've played TDM and kill confirmed like 6 games in a row now. Can we please play domination? Like, that's the whole reason I'm here, is for the 9-on-9 domination. I really could care less about the kill confirmed or the team deathmatch part of Ground War. It's really, those are just filler games. I'm just waiting until it's over so I can go play domination, right? So that's something I would like them to have. I think it would be pretty cool. Also, I would like War to return. Of course, they brought back War from the other Call of Duty games as the game of momentum here in Advanced Warfare, but in my own personal opinion, the exosuits kind of isn't the same game mode. It's far too fast-paced in this compared to the other traditional Call of Duty games like Call of Duty 3, Call of Duty 2, Call of Duty World at War. It's completely different in my own personal opinion, way too fast, and it just breaks it. Whereas War was about map control and positioning, this is about like ADD, sugar rush, and just running around, throwing grenades, hip firing, and just it's not the same. And I would like them to retry it in a game that doesn't have exosuits. That would be pretty cool in my own personal opinion. And that is my wish list for Call of Duty Black Ops 3. That's what I have so far. So let me know in the comment section below if you guys disagree or agree with any of my opinions here, and if there's anything else you guys like to add to that, let me know in the comment section below. Keep in mind that on April 26th, which is in 5 days at the time of this video being recorded, we will actually be seeing the world reveal for Call of Duty Black Ops 3, and of course we'll be learning a lot more about the game. Hopefully most of our questions will be answered. There's no way in the world all of our questions will be answered, but hopefully most of our questions will be answered from that, and it just sounds so awesome to be able to find out exactly what this game's going to be out, because we've been speculating about this day in and day out since it was first initially revealed that it was going to be Black Ops 3, right? We've been talking about this forever, so I'm definitely looking forward to finding out more about the game. Let me know in the comment section below, what would you guys like to see in Call of Duty Black Ops 3? I hope you guys all enjoyed this video, and if you did, please be sure to leave a rating. Hope you guys all have a wonderful day.